Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and we're back for another big art quest. Going to the dogs 2021 dog-focused art lesson. So this is a really gorgeous, long-haired, fluffy white dog. It's not the bright white fur that you think of sometimes with a Maltese. It is more like the fur that's got a little bit of a gold tone to it, like my personal Cavapoo Twix. I know many mixed breed dogs end up with this fur color, and there are several distinctive working breeds that have this color. So I know this particular puppy will speak to many of you guys personally. Now, the class itself is going to be about a 2-hoot, which is sort of an intermediate level, but we're going to have a mini book, which makes it more beginner friendly to everyone. All my classes are for beginners. And the Hoot system just lets you know how long a class is going to be and how many techniques might be involved. So this is like pretty beginner friendly one for you guys. Because I knew there were just the upturned nose and the panting in the flowers. Did anybody figure out what the flowers were?
I don't know. Here.
If you know what type of flowers these are, if you could tell me, that would be great. There's some sort of buttercup, I guess, maybe? Pansy, something? Buttercup? I think it's got to be a buttercup. Man, I don't know. So this is what we're painting today. Now, to help you with that, there is a traceable. I'm going to freehand the puppy out. Today, I practiced that last night. If you're in the Big Art Quest, you saw my pencil drawing of it. But if you don't want to do that, there is a traceable. So during that stage, that step of the painting, you would just use the traceable and transfer the image on. That's free for download. Good news, we're caught up through the 30th on mini books. Mini books are written out step-by-step instructions that include the materials and brushes, even at each step, with written instructions and matching photographs that match the time stamping on the video. And the moderators have that link. And there's also a link in the description. There's a link on the community tab and all over the place because I want you guys to be able to find it. You do need an account, though, on the website to see the files section, but that's free and the downloads are free. It's all free. So other than a mild signing up inconvenience, it's all pretty free. And after that, it's smooth sailing. Today's class, if you check the description, we will have the materials in there. After the class, there will be chapter, bookmark, and timestamp so that you can find your spot again. We're working on a 9x12 surface today, and we're starting out with burnt sienna and phthalo green for the lesson. I think it's very important to have some type of wonderful sippy. So, as you guys know, it's coffee for me. I'm powered by coffee entirely, and I put my paint in the most inconvenient place for John to have the picture-in-picture. I'm so sorry.
We're going to find a place for today.
It'll go somewhere out there.
Somewhere behind the Sherpa.
So on my surface, I have some wishes, some personal wishes, and then some public wishes. The public wishes are peace and healing for those that need it. If you're out in the world and you're needing some more peace in your life or healing in your life, I hope the circumstances that are required for that come to you. On a personal note, and John's been listening to me go on about this, I'm wishing for justice for an artist, Robin Wright of Fantasy Wire. This artist has been going through a lot online. I have even reached out trying to help them on Facebook. I reported a page yesterday that had paid for 60 ads on Facebook selling their art. And the problem with that is that they don't sell their art on Facebook. They're a fine artist, and you have to contact them for pieces, and the availability is limited. They are an artist that it is my dream, a personal dream, and John knows this, to have an original piece of theirs.
Yes.
Right? And they have very iconic pieces, and those pieces should never be used without their consent in any manner. Not on Etsy, not on YouTube, not anywhere, in any manner. So I'm wishing for justice for them so that when they reach out and report these copyright thefts, that their takedowns are easier. And you guys know I've been through that. So let's justice online for copyright and artists. I'm also wishing that St. Jude remains funded and continues to operate. You guys definitely contributed with that. And then I have a personal wish that we have some good stuff happen on the channel and we get a book out. So those are the wishes for today.
Those are good wishes.
Have any wishes you want on your canvas or none. It's really up to you. I am not here to tell you what to do. How are you guys? Are you ready for today's class?
I'm super ready.
Breathe in the creativity. Breathe out the stress of the week. Breathe in our creativity. Breathe out the stress of the week. All right. Getting in that mindset. Relax. Kind of. I'm probably not going to be that relaxed.
You're generally pretty relaxed.
I am relaxed, but I'm energetically relaxed. That makes sense. All right, let's put up a step and we'll start putting this wonderful lesson in. Step one. Step one is going to be kind of blocking in where the objects I think are going to go. And today, I'm going to sketch in with paint. What? I know. Crazy of me, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to use a cat's tongue. This is a pointed filbert, and it's a gently pointed filbert that I sell from the Art Sherpa line. You can find these at Michael's online. If you want to find my brushes, you can find them at Michael's online, and the half-off coupon does work. While supplies last. I'm going to load up with burnt sienna here, and I'm going to just sort of talk about what space I want our little doggy to be in. It's really at this stage not much of a drawing proposition as much as a take up this much of the canvas proposition. And I'm kind of making the triangular shape of the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll come in and I will be adding like fur and all kinds of things. I just want to know what sort of space puppers will be taking up here and how far into the surface I'm going to be planting them. All right, so you can see that I'm not quite to the halfway point here with my sketching. I'm very loose with my sketching. Kind of got a little top point here that gives me a couple fingers from the top, about an inch. And I'm pretty close to the edge on the far side. We're going to have lots of daisies, and I want lots of room for fur. This is wonderful because then I don't have that much to worry about when I am painting in the rest of it. And one thing that I can do, even though I'm going to be coming in with white, I can very loosely kind of go, this is doggo. Fluffer, pupper, the snifter of all snifters. Sniffing the springs as they do.
Many happy belated birthdays to you.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys were amazing for my birthday. If you didn't know, I do a thing every year where I donate to St. Jude, and I invite you guys to join me. And this year, like, you guys brought it.
Mm-hmm.
So many plasma treatments. So many plasma treatments. So many medical visits. You just cannot even imagine what you guys funded. It's incredible for you guys, and I really appreciate it. All right, let's call this the beginning.
This is the beginning.
Well, yes, we'll call this the beginning, and then we'll paint in the background. You just got to get this weird, squishy shape in.
We can do that.
We can do that. I just want you to kind of get the concept. If you're freehanding with me and breaking it down maybe into slightly smaller bits than I normally would.
We'll take a picture.
Just in case that you're like, I'm trying to get this odd shape. Paint everything green. We're going to come back and paint it a dark green. Pretty simple. Step 1 and 2 are pretty simple. Sometimes with painting, you've got to get a certain kind of concept in. And to do this particular painting, I want to know what space my dog is taking up, so I'm not doing a huge amount of grass or flower detail where the dog is going to be. And it's really got to go the distant background and flowers, then dog, then forward flowers because of the object placement. Now, of course, you could really do this any way you want. There's an artist I really like, Fine Art Tips, that just sort of starts from one corner and goes across. It's very interesting to watch that process. Not really a beginner-friendly process, but certainly fascinating to see happen as we go. So here we are. We've got this. We're ready for the green. Ready for the super green? Green. I'm going to get just a bright brush.
I think so.
This is it's a 26 ruby satin, but what I'm going to say is it's just over an inch wide, and it's a bright and short handle. You can use a lot of different brushes for acrylic paint. I like synthetic and hog. I don't like my brushes to be too soft. I'm going to mix a dark green and just paint my whole background in that dark green. It's nice to paint in the background this dark color, and I usually don't even mix this much paint. The reason it is that the grass to look like it's rich and full, you will want to make sure that it has some depth to it. Got some depth. I might even have to put more brown there. And it's okay to bring a little bit of the green up to the bottom here Yeah, we're going to come back with some fur, but this is all right depth because at some point down here at the bottom, it goes like that. This is a weird thing. If you don't paint all the time, I'm getting some more burnt sienna. That's what you see me looking for. If you don't paint all the time, you might not know that this craziness is a great way to layer in the painting. Right? You wouldn't be like, you know what I need is a weird kind of bowling ball seed shaped kind of brown thing and a bunch of green smushy stuff around it.
Nope.
Wouldn't be your first guess. And I think that's because when we see, and you can see my other paintings, if you're like, can she get there? Yes, I can get there. You can look at all my other paintings and go, oh yeah, she can totally get there. The thing is, when you've been painting a while, you know that there's sort of an underpainting, finishing series of stages that go on in art, and they stop scaring you at some point. And this is one of the ways that this is maybe a little different than what we do in, say, a painting party situation. Another reason that it elevates it up into that 2 hoot, because in acrylic, really to get depth and vibrancy and for the painting to look good at home for you guys, not just in my thumbnail, but at home, we just need certain layers. For you guys to have a good result. Well, look at that. Isn't that just lovely? Now,
Yeah.
I've kind of trimmed in on the brown, and that's just because I want to give myself some room to layer face out. But I know where it has a white dog about here, and it has green fields about here. So I've made some pretty big decisions about where objects exist and their scale from our reference photo to our 9x12 painting. Does it look anything like the finish? Not yet, but it will, and it'll be wonderful and glorious. Let's dry this.
Okay.
So that we can start the next layers.
All right.
I'm going to dry it.
Okay. And so while she's drying that, I'm going to share with you guys. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. The text and mess. I'm going to have to make little Sherpa disappear for a second. Boop. So if you go and you were to send the message, the Art Sherpa, all one word, to the number 332222. That's 3 2s. So it's 3 3. It's 2 3s, then 3 2s. They must have thought they were clever when they did that. Anyway, 33222. Send the Art Sherpa there, and you'll get notifications. You'll get messaged when we go messaging. There she is. I brought one. There it is. Now, little Sherpa. There she is. Hello.
Lovers,
We got it. You know what you got to do?
dreamers, and me.
We got to do something.
What?
Got to step it
Step it.
and take a picture.
Step it and take a picture. That's right. Step it.
And you'll tell them what you just put out.
I put out cadmium yellow, and I'm going to put out some titanium white. I'm going to start putting in the background colors, and I need some more colors to do that. I will probably have to put out some more green before all is said and done. But for most backgrounds, I like to work, and I've got this in my color mixing video, phthalo green, and burnt sienna, cad yellow, and titanium white are just very lovely colors to be doing for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you will notice that the background is a little out of focus, isn't it? It's got kind of little out of focus pink flowers. Let's get, we'll do those in the quinacridone magenta today, because we can. Why not? We'll add some quinacridone magenta. So burnt sienna, phthalo green, cad yellow, medium quinacridone magenta. You could also probably use quin red or any regular magenta, and titanium white. We're going to start adding some of the kind of diffused, out of focus texture that goes around the dog and the diffused flowers. Doesn't that sound fun? Sounds fun to me. To begin that, I'm going to make my kind of not super bright green. I meant to be in with everybody on Facebook, and then I see Colleen, and I see Emily wishing us a very happy 4th early. All right, I'm in Facebook now, in the chat. All right, we're on YouTube and Facebook. You just watch for your favorite platform. I'm adding a little bit of cad yellow into my green mixture. I do want it to be kind of muted, because we're just the beginning. And we're going to start to create this sort of distant, out of focus. See how these are very loose little marks? And I'll randomize it. These are the blades of grass. These are the days of our lives where the blades of grass are not, and the flower blades are not going to be particularly in focus. And so we're going to just, I'm not going like this. There's a temptation for new artists to make a repeat pattern when you see me making random patterns. Stop in the name of your art. Go. I can't make X's. I can't just make repeat patterns. I have to randomize. I got to jump around. I've got to distract the canvas with my random movement. Now, when you've been doing this a while, you start to really naturally see those random movements. But when you're very new, your brain says to you, you know, you're just jumping around. Wouldn't you like to make a pattern? You got to tell your brain, not today, later, when we're doing dot art, perhaps we will make some patterns. Thank you so much for offering to help me out. Now it's just creating an irregularity.
Mm-hmm.
You want little bits of irregularity. And I do try to, you can see I'll go stroke right and left, and I'll layer over. I'll go back over areas that I am. Some of my brush strokes are heavy. Some of my brush strokes are light. Right? Sometimes I'm on the toe of the brush. That's the tip. Right? But I'm never pushing it to the heel. I never get a big bend on it because that's going to ruin my, not only ruin my brush, but my painting. Because it'll put too much weight to the stroke and make them overly thick and problematic. I'll go ahead and layer a little bit up here just because I know we've got so much happening up front we're going to be doing, but it's okay to get into that. See how that's nice and full?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to add a little more yellow and a little more green to the mix. That makes kind of a brighter color. I haven't rinsed out by any means from my brown, and I'm going to make some leaf marks. They're just, they'll be kind of blended in. I'm just on the edge of my brush. You could do this with a round brush or a bright. You'll get a better result if you don't have one with a filbert or a round and a bright, but you can still get it there with any brush you have. I could probably do this with a sponge brush. I could probably paint a whole painting with a sponge brush. I wouldn't love it, and there might be some bad words, but I'd get there. Oh, that's too much brown. So sometimes you'll see me go, oh, no, too much, because I want to make a brighter color. When I want to lighten it, I brighten it up. And I'll try to make sure that these are multi-directional and kind of take up some spaces that are unexpected. Let's go. Making a weird back. Yeah. Why are we doing? Because we can, and why wouldn't we? To make a beautiful, fluffy white dog. And did we find out the flowers?
I will go back.
Somebody got it. In case you missed what I said, night blooming primrose. It's a Texas wildflower. Ooh. Angela Johnson, Kirkland, I saw your comment. I'm sure other people also responded, but Angela, I saw your comment and you answered it. It's a night blooming primrose.
And thank you to Elaine for the wonderful super chat.
Oh, thank you, Elaine, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Let's it really does make a big difference. The mini books we just dropped. Thank you. You help make that happen. All right. See, I'm just trying to make sure that some things are random of shape in line, aren't we? We're trying to create the sense of things. Big strokes, little strokes. This always makes me think of where does the brown bear go? For some reason. Where does the next stroke go when your painting has too much rhythm and rhyme and reason.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little more yellow into it, perhaps. A little more green. Midgeling white. Make those little curves out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had a really great comment on today that got me super excited. So I put up the link to all the mini books. 2021 is the year that has them. We didn't do them previously, with the exception of probably Acrylic April 2020.
Right.
But we hadn't done them previously. Somebody was saying that they were giving up midway in these live classes because I kind of cook along.
Right.
Do I go fast?
Yeah, a little bit sometimes.
Do I go fast? It's okay to tell me if I go fast. Just tell me your experience. If I might go a little fast. And so what they found was that the mini books allowed them to not lose sight of what was happening. You know, coming back and rewatching the videos, notice that I'm making little irregular kind of lines as well as strokes. Isn't this beautiful how we build up this background? There we go. I feel good about that. Let's call that a step. Look at what we did there. Isn't that not beautiful? I am going to try it again. I would love to heat my coffee if I can. I'm going to sip it and heat it.
I tell you, you heat it. I'm going to tell them what's going on. Or I should say, you dry.
Dry it. Don't microwave at the time I'm drying.
I got to push the mute button. Okay, so it would seem that earlier, the last message, I got a tad bit pre-buttony, and I may have misnumbered some buttons. It's possible I could have done that. So, when I put the step up this time, it's the right step number, I think. Which should be good. So there you go. We're at the right step number, and I apologize if I was previously a little misbuttoned. But we're back, and thank you for hanging out, and thank you guys for all the support. Really, your patronage support is what makes it possible for what we do this here, and just want to say thank you. So, whoosh, step in. I'm gonna go take a picture and you talk to them.
All right. Am I I don't know, American Idol, right? Remember the kids going, for vote for me.
Okay. Why is it when I talk to them, you bring up random pop culture television?
Maybe my brain is made of random pop culture television and art. Maybe that's all I'm made of. And coffee. Random pop culture television, art, and coffee. That's kind of perfect for somebody from the 80s, right? I don't know if we count more as the 90s and the 80s. I don't know. You count it when you're a teenager or when you're in your 20s? What's more formative? I've never been able to figure out.
You're like a walking pop-up video.
Pop-up video. Look, I love being here with you guys. It is my favorite. I love it so much. And the fact that I get to do that is the best. Let's grab our secret weapon. I highly recommend getting one of these if you can. This is the Princeton Select Round Blender number 12. It blends, it makes flowers, it does all kinds of things. It's a lot like my Dome Scumbler, right? Which I call the cloud brush, and I would now refer to it as Dome Scumbler because it's a better thing. This is very, very stiff, and it's good for really pushing heavy body paint, doing a thick application for dry brushing and creating little airy, wispy clouds. It does a lot of wonderful things, and there are no other brushes really like it, but this is a soft one. So that's the difference between those two. I'm going to get this brush a little bit wet, and I wipe it off on top because I don't want it so wet that it doesn't work. And I'm going to load up white all around my brush. Notice I'm kind of flipping around to load it, and then I'm going to come over here and get just the smidgest of pink.
It's like a football in a field.
And I may add, guys, you know what I'm going to add? Ultramarine. That's what's going to take it to this slightly purple cast. when I need it. And I will. If I took just a smidge of that purple, look, it just takes that pink just a little bit to that purple cast. And we're going to come back here.
And there's Patty. Thank you very much, Patty.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
Sent a wonderful super chat sticker to
Thank
us.
you very much for the super chat. Notice this is just a weird little shape. And the reason it's just a weird little shape is because these flowers are out of focus, right? They are here, but we're not seeing their individual petals, are we?
I was going to say they're a weird little shape because they're from Texas.
And so I'm just trying to make sure that what I put here is sort of out of focus and a little diffused. I'm going to grab a little more pink here and maybe kind of touch that up in pink. So we don't want these to be the focus flowers. Right? That's not what we're trying to do, is focus on flowers. We're trying to create little objects that maybe have the shape of the flowers. A little more pink where I need it. Distant, out of focus flowers. You could do this with a round brush or a braid. I just really like this one because it's already fluffy. If you had a brush that you accidentally left paint into and blew it out, you know what I mean. You know how you are. You've done it.
I know what you mean.
I'm going to add a little bit of extra white there. And that one has maybe just a little more shape to it, but not much. We don't need to worry about this middle row or the forward flowers. Those are more in focus, and we really see them.
Yeah.
We're just talking about these flowers that are kind of also in the field, these night blooming primroses. I just love them. I just have to say they're so happy, and they make me happy. And aren't these easy to do, weird shape? It is hard to do a flower at first in a random shape because your mind wants to go petal, 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 center.
Michelle and Bella are both loving doing this. I'm so happy to do this today.
If you guys check, all of the Big Art Quest dogs are in the Big Art Quest group in the top pin post through September, so you can see what we've got coming. I think the next one we're doing is a Basset Hound. Because when sometimes I do stories on YouTube and then I answer via video, and I got a lot of requests for Basset Hound.
Yeah.
So it happened. I'm just trying to pop little bits of pink and things in there. And come back with maybe a little heavier white into some of the flowers, in their centers, perhaps. And it gives them a little perspective, right? And then rinse out. And then the last stage of this step is I'm going to put a little hint. Now, this is going to be kind of a yellow-green, interestingly enough. It's not going to be like a fully bright yellow. At the base of some of these and in the mouths, because believe it or not, and the nice thing, so it's still yellow, but it's got a little green cast. And the reason it will is that keeps it from being too bright and pulling those flowers too far forward. And then the green at the base is kind of speaks to maybe some stems or some bit that's going on there. See? Just a bit of that unexpected pops of color that make grass look. Oh my gosh. We just did the background of out of focus flowers. Probably seem mentally overwhelming. And yet we just sailed through it. You sailed through it. Take a deep breath. Breathe in your creativity. Relax your shoulders and your neck. Pay attention to your posture. Does anything hurt? Anything pinching? The reason I ask these questions sometimes during classes is when you're painting, you lose track of everything, including your body. You lose track if you need to pee. You lose track that you need to eat. You lose track that your neck is in a terrible position. So you've got to every once in a while take stock of how you're doing and sit up and breathe in the creativity. Breathe out the weak. I think we're ready for a step. A sip and a step. A sip and a step. Oh, Angela says that these flowers can also be white and yellow, like all those colors. I like this kind of pinky purple, but I love all the ideas of all those colors. To be arting. So here is some thoughts for you. When we write poetry, when we compose music, when we paint, we're actually keeping our brain elastic and happy. There have been just a ton of studies, healing studies for brain injury and trauma, age-related studies, just a grip. Studies related to almost just everything that you can imagine related to the brain and creativity. And what they have found is the creative process using your imagination helps your brain not get rigid and atrophy. They have a lot of medical terms for it. I'm not using them, but there's so much out there. And not like ridiculous studies like turnips will heal you from everything under the sun, but like actual long-term qualified, double-blind, medically reviewed studies. Not that I don't write words on water bottles and hope that the water is happy, because that got me too, but you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put a little, that was nice. It was nice. Did we have the step up?
Yeah, you stepped.
New step. Let's kind of talk about the puppy now a bit. I'm going to put out some black paint. It's a little warm in here. I'm going to put out some black paint, and I'm going to sketch this in with paint. You could sketch this in with chalk. I just want you to be able to see it at home. How I do this, and this is really wonderful, and is kind of how you do it for any dog anywhere, is I start out kind of getting the nose in. So I'm going to come right here, and we're going to set the nose, and just the basic shape of the nose, which is a little diamond. Right? Little diamond nose. Now, on a dog, it's a big deal to know. They use that for so many things. Then we come down just a smidge from there. And then, a few little fingers down. I'm going to start this part of the little chin.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little mountain with a curve. See the little mountain?
I do.
Curves back up. There we go. Look at that. Super cute, right? And let's just temporarily, I know I've got to put teeth in there and tongue in there and all kinds of things, but we're just going to come in and fill that in for just a second. With black. That's just lovely, isn't it? Just lovely. And I'm going to go ahead and let's get I'm trying to decide if I want to do a fan or a hog. I guess I'm going to do a hog, and we're going to start doing the fur with a hog. This is a number 6 round hog bristle brush. This is another type of hog. This is kind of best dressed and curled in, and this is kind of flailing out. This is not uncommon for either, but either one of them will do this technique. You just got to kind of be familiar that there's a little range of hog out there. All right. I'm going to take my brown and my yellow, and I'm going to make kind of a yellow ochre. Now, if you have yellow ochre, you could just skip this stage and go right to the yellow ochre stage. And we're going to begin with this deep color. I don't want to go out too far because I want to leave lots and lots of room for fluff. Right? But the thing is, with white fur or black fur, right, you have the shadows and the highlights. So I've got to make sure I have space that speaks to both.
You know, this is the...
Notice that some of these strokes are short and some are long. This is the... You said this is the... John.
Oh.
You said this is the, and then
I was reading chat. I think that this is the painting sort of personification of Snoopy.
Twix. It's our Twix.
But remember how Snoopy used to go and dance in the field and go doo-doo-doo with the nose up in the air? That's what this reminds me of.
There's a really good documentary about that on, is it Apple or... I have the Apple app, which I do like. I have liked every show but physical. And the only reason I don't like physical is I find her internal self-dialogue, well, one, too close to what I struggle with in my youth, and also just hard to hear. Even though I think everyone's doing a good job on it, just personally wasn't leaving me feeling uplifted, whereas Ted Lasso left me feeling very uplifted and inspired to do better and be a better human being.
Yes.
That one was just like, oh, yeah, I remember talking to myself like that. This is terrible. Probably an important conversation to be having. Notice that I'm really curving these strokes around. I'm putting a little flair on them, aren't I? Bella says, such a cute painting and such a happy feeling to it. Yes, this painting is a happy feeling painting. And we need that in life, don't we? A happy feeling painting. And come here slightly darker, and I will kind of flare that out. A little thoughtfulness at this stage does get us pretty far, and it's so easy to build up the lighter layers as we go. And I can just start to get that first layer of fur.
The first fur layer.
The first fur layer. Again, burnt sienna, yellow, cad yellow, and a little titanium white. We're kind of getting a yellow ochre. And you'll know on this type of dog, like our dog, she actually had a dark muzzle. She was almost like marked like a pug when she was a puppy, and then she has creamed out as she's gone. Yeah. She definitely was like, I have cute markings. No, I don't. She's like, but then she was so adorable. What can you do with it?
Now she's just
can you do?
Fluffy.
She's so fluffy. She's so fluffy. I just want to give her treaties all the time. I just adore her. She so gets it too. She's such a sensitive little soul. Like,
she is so smart. She knows just how long to wait for Cinnamon to get up and walk out of a room, to jump up into her chair and start drinking her coffee.
I don't care. I love her. It's all right. She can do what she needs to do.
And then you have Twix, who runs around the room fast, because she just had a cup of coffee.
So what we're doing here, guys, is we're just building the deepest shadows in the fur, right? Because that's what you want. You need some deep shadows if you're going to build up a very white dog. You'll notice I'm also kind of curving these brush strokes to sort of mimic the fur, directionality of the fur, making sure the canvas is covered where it needs to be. You know, sometimes they want to do that thing where they fight back and give you spots. I'm coming here and bringing this to the end. And see, by doing this, it's going to be easy to put the shadow in to build the white on white as I have to build up and create layers. And then we get to bring out these little crazy white little hairs, which is going to give the dog so much personality. Every time you look at this when it's done, you're going to be like, this just brings me laughter and joy on every level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, around the muzzle, the directionality of the fur does change, so I want to make sure that I get this in before I have to do that. Just making sure that there's a nice coat of paint here. And so this is that basic first thought. So you can see how we've taken our weird leaf and created a fuzzy weird leaf shape with a black spot. But again, when it's all done, it's going to be like, how cute is that? I'm going to be like, so cute, so cute. Let's call a step. Let's take a sip. Let's breathe in the creativity.
That seems like a good thing to do. Let's see.
I like to breathe in that creativity, breathe out the weak. Right? Shoulders, check them. Are your shoulders relaxed? Are they set well? On our art retreats, we actually had somebody do like a kind of not yoga, because you guys know I'm not gonna be doing no getting to my feet yoga, but let's just say Tai Chi kinesthetic style movement for artists.
I think yoga may be in my future.
Yeah, yoga was always in your future. It's just not necessarily in my future.
I may have to.
The thing. It might not. All right, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to do a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little of my black and my white. And you see I've got kind of a bit of a gray there. And I'm going to come up here, and this little part of the chin that comes up, well, it's a deep dark gray. And around the nose is a deep dark gray. You guys see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
This is an important thing. For the rest of everything, you got to get that going in. I might go ahead and make sure that I have another little coat of black in here, just so it's nice and deep for good contrast. Looks finished and well considered. You're going to have lots of little hairs sort of curling over this, so you want to make sure that there's good places for contrast. While I'm doing this, I'm going to take that gray, the gray. I'm going to go to the top of the nose. Over the top. See how we're coming up over the top?
Mm-hmm.
And then just a little bit in the center. A little bit in the center, kind of like in a heart shape. So you got two little nostrils sort of sticking up. Not quite this light. I'm going to get a darker gray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come here and come here. One of the reasons I like to do the pencil sketches like I did that you saw me post in group is because it gives me a chance to study structure and think about it in a more specific way. Over the top. Fun to do. I like building up the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Building it up. Now I'm going to come in with some black real quick. And if you look at the shape of the nostrils, a drop of water got on my brush. Sometimes when a drop of water gets on your brush, it runs down and it like kamikazes your painting. It's like, no! So, no surprises there. No surprises there.
No surprise.
Just pounces it. All right, I'm going to get some light gray. And come in and hit the inside kind of here. This is a reflection that you want to see in the nostril. Under here.
Mm-hmm.
And it highlights it. On that side, I lost a little bit of the black, so I've got to go back and fix it. I'm going to erase that back. All right. Just checking comments every once in a while, just making sure we're all good. Watching
so.
for the drop that's hiding. And I may have to dry the nose to make sure that I can do this part. So let me give me 2 seconds to dry it. So that we want that nose shape to be upward, recognizable, and defined.
All right, that will take just a second for her to dry that off.
Sometimes when you're painting, yeah.
Sometimes when you're painting. What happens? You've built it up.
I did, and then I didn't finish it.
But what happens? When you're painting, what happens?
What happens when I'm painting?
Is this a book? Is it a movie? Is it a 3-part movie?
You think you should distract me anymore?
I don't know. What are we talking about?
Sometimes when you're painting, I can't remember now. Oh, things aren't dry enough for the technique to work.
That would not make a good movie.
No. I don't know that just a painting would make a good movie. The just a painting movie. So nowadays.
I don't know. Could we get Quentin Tarantino to write it?
Well, then for sure I would get to act in it because I've made some highlights on the either side of the kind of fold line of the nose. And then now you can kind of see that structure. And that's what you're just trying to do is just play with those structures where you can see what's going on in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm here, and this is dry now. And come in, and I'm going to get just a little bit of, I don't know, kind of the brown and yellow. I don't want it to be completely white for the teeth. Pretty white, fairly white, but just not totally white. Otherwise, they'll. There we go. Not pure white, just mostly white. And how I do this is I go a little bit of a little tooth there, and a little bit of a little tooth there. There's a couple little teeth. And then a little tooth. And it's real fun because they can have, kind of crazy little teeth. That's dogs.
This is so cute.
It's so cute. I'm going to take a little of my yellow and my quinacridone. Still keep it pink, but I just want a little of that yellow to it. And I'm going to make the first of my pink. And that will come here to the outside. And kind of bows out. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And then when you have that really good, then you can come back with a lot of white into that pink color for a highlight. And kind of highlight the pink tongue. So it just really shows us what it is. A little doggy tongue.
Mm.
I lost a little of my tooth. It's okay. It's easy enough to put it back. Easy enough to put a little of the tooth back.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm at all worried about any of that definition, I can come back with, like, believe it or not, my number 1 monogram liner, which I usually don't use till the end, and get a little bit of a dark color going.
Yeah.
And then just Trying to make sure that those little teeth have definition. I might dry that there too. Again, if it's wet, it may not touch the dark color.
Wrong button. This shouldn't take. There you
Hmm?
go. Nothing. Just making sure.
Oh, what?
I didn't think it was you were gonna be gone long. That's what it was.
Water drop wants to hide on my brush. Jump up and get me. There we go. Sometimes it helps if I come back and create that definition this way. See how we made those teeth like kind of cute?
Mm-hmm.
So you can make them teeth cuter. I can get a little more white even kind of going on my brush. Highlighting them so they're funnier. Isn't that funny now?
That is.
And you want funny in this type of painting. Even if you're painting every hair, even if you're spending a lot of time making sure this is the #1 monogram liner, it just gives me a nice fine line. Even if I'm making sure working out my tongue. There we go. Little tongue in the mouth. All right, let's call that a step and come back and fur.
Yeah.
Fur. All right. I want to thank everybody who's hanging out on Facebook learning how to paint today, or if you're here on YouTube learning how to paint. It is a fabulous day to be doing a white fluffy puppy, and you're going to love it. We've got another great class coming up in 3 days that you might want to check out in the upcoming live playlist. You can check out our upcoming classes through September on the artsherpa.com's website via the calendar tool. So if you like, what's coming up? What do I want to make sure that I see, make sure that I get into, and not miss out on? That would be where you find that. I'm going to grab a little bit of a very light gray. Just exaggerate a couple of the nose highlights for fun. Like you do. Like you do. Now, going forward, I've got a lot of hair that I've got to paint coming out, and then I have this sort of forward hair. So you want to get the peripheral fringe and curl and everything. And then I'll show you with a quick chalk sketch. So the nose, right, kind of has a space that comes down like that. And a space that comes down like that. And then the chin is going to flow over in that way. So I've got to really work all the hair that is not that now. If you're wondering what you've got to do. Take a little of my yellow, a little of my brown, make that sort of cream color coat. And I want a light fur. And I'll come around the nose. I'm just using a #4 round, guys. Making wild little fuzzy hairs. I don't want to paint out everything that I did already. Yeah, it's already kind of funny. humor in art, I mean, it's not serious art. It just means that the aspects of life that you've chosen to lean into might be those that are the ones that make life enjoyable. Sorry. Sometimes certain things just bring me a lot of joy. I might leave some of these little flowers a bit. I may have to paint them out. It's been known to happen. A little brown in there. Keep it in that cream range. Otherwise, it'll go too far into like the golden retriever range. And we have to build up. Just a number 4 round. Now, down through here, you'll notice that there's a bit of a shadow. So even though I'm doing another layer, I have to keep that darker. Painting fur is just often about patience and brushstroke curve and finding the directionality of the fur and being okay with it. And we're leaving little shadows in. Maybe this part over here is a bit darker. If you can see that there, it is for sure, still in the fur range, but it's a darker fur range. And then back into the light. I'm making sure everything is super fluffy, super wonderful. Fluff to taste. You know how they say salt and pepper to taste? Fluff to taste. How fluffy is your pupper? It's up to you. Much like the grass, I do try to make sure that my hair is the fur hair. I guess on Twix, it's hair. On other dogs, it's fur. So, depending on the type of dog you have. But regardless, the many, many tiny little strands of colorful fluff. You do want to do much like the grass and make sure that they have the randomness needed to express the degree of fluffiness you may be going for. We're building up our sweetie pie. You're so quiet, John.
Am I so quiet?
So quiet.
So quiet.
See, these little S strokes are not that hard to do. You just want to flow your little brush along in little S strokes. Pulling it along. You've got this. You can totally do it. Now, under the chin here, we have a little bit more shadow, and we can actually, believe it or not, kind of get a little of the brown and black involved because that fur is a little more in shade. I'll come here and I can add some deep shadows that are impacting the fur through here. Coming back with much deeper highlights, so do not be stressed on that. Come over with a bright highlight so it'll make them even better. And that's the important thing too, is know that a lot of cream dogs or nearly white dogs are not all uniformly white. Only a few dogs are, like Malteses, are uniformly white, certain types, Samoyeds, but a lot of dogs are building up into the white. So I've taken my black and a little bit of my brown and gray. I'm getting my white over here, mixing into it. It's definitely more of a shaded color. I just want to make sure that we've got that we're building up over. Now we will be doing like little curly cues and little detailed bits. You don't want to do, you want to have like this sort of flow, and then you come back in and you're like, oh, I have details here. So that's something to be thinking about, is when you get the details involved and when you want to just get the overall flow involved. So cute. On the toe of my brush, just flowing, flowing, flowing. Let's call that a step because that took a minute to get there. And then we're going to come back and use some of our secret weapons and really create some detailing.
Ooh. Oh, let's get this
So good. All right. It's going to really like, in the next two steps, like a puppy will emerge from the flowers. It's going to be really fun. And hopefully look like your puppy. Things that you can do to make this look like your puppy is, if your puppy has very specific markings, you can paint those in, just little, anything that makes them distinctive from other dogs, or little things that you can do to customize these to be more for your puppies at home. I'm going to do two things. If you're doing fur and you want to do more animals in your life and more dogs, I would definitely get certain tools. And one of them is fluid paint. This is titanium white fluid acrylic. It's specifically very wonderful for this because we're doing a white dog. And I'm also going to use a grass comb. The other kind of name for this type of brush is a grainer. Either one of these will work. This is a Filbert grainer by Princeton. This is a silver brush ruby satin Filbert grass comb. Pretty much same. If you don't have one of these, a fan brush can do this as well. And you can actually make these with scissors and a Filbert. You're never stuck. This is just something you want to have in your brush bucket, however you get there. I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet. Have we done a step?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to come in, and I don't want the totally pure white, but I do want it to be a very light color. So I'm loading up the brush, and I'm going to come here. And add some highlights to this fur. See how fluffy we're getting?
Yeah.
Now coming around this outer edge, because I want there to be some differential between what's going on in the front here and the sides, I will be sure and kind of be lighter here with this light color, and then heavier to the outer edge. Curve, and then where I want to pull it all together, I just simply twirl the brush. Getting super fluffy. need to rinse out, I will. Look at that puppy go. This is going to be, really wonderful. I'm going to love this. I got to frame this and put this one on the wall. This one I love.
This is super cute.
Sometimes I like to curl back the brush and kind of imply little curls, little moments. I know we're going to have a lot of flowers and things through here, but that it's nice when the flowers peek through to little curl moments. It makes it just feel more what it is. I'm going to come over to the other side here and continue to fluff. And, you know, the color is the burnt sienna and the cad yellow and a lot of titanium white. So if you have to come back and kind of add some back in to make sure that your white still is not so white that it doesn't look like that breed of dog that it is, or your dog. And we do have a Maltese coming up for those of you that have the snow ball of dogs. There are many, many breeds coming up. We got pugs coming up, and a really funny Yorkie for fall. They can kind of create little bits of curl places, little waves.
Oh, it's super nice.
At this point, you're like, what? This is adorable. What is this? Again, if you just came in, this is a 1/2-inch ruby satin filbert grass comb. You could also, to get the same effect, use the filbert Greenery by Princeton velvet touch line. They both are fine. Or make your own. The only thing I feel obligated to tell you is if you make your own, it voids the warranty on your brush, like any of us were using those. But if we were, that's the thing to know.
It is.
If you're a hairdresser, you way have it. You could way make one of these because you have the good scissors for it. So just making sure we got some little, just wonderful. The fluffies are so fluffy.
This dog looks like it's from a hairband.
Dog is from a hairband. The hairband of cute. Everything about this is making me super happy.
I have to say, I think the best name for a dog I heard was Chewbarker.
Chewbacca? Chewbarker?
Chewbarker.
Chewbarker. That's very good. So, you know, you've got highlights, you've got stuff going here. Now, underneath, we remember that we had kind of more of a muted first. I'm going to take my brown and a little of my black again and mix those together, getting that gray. And then even as I come here, even though it is perhaps a lighter fur than what we have here, it will be enough in shadow that when the very light overtop fur happens, that overtop fur will feel. Curling back some of the down there. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. This is a wonderful Saturday painting.
It really is.
Even if this wasn't a breed of dog that you owned. Creating little curls. You see how I use the curve of my brush stroke
Mm-hmm.
and these little motions to create magic little moments in the painting. The thing to remember is that the marks matter in the way that we make them. Yes, I've got a lot of grass that'll go over that, and a lot of this will be barely showing or just peeking through. What does that mean for us? It means lots of opportunities
Yeah.
for wonderfulness. Let's call this a step, guys.
A step.
All right. Opie M.A. Ishola says, oh, no, she's talking to Trish Maxwell, so never mind. Good morning from Eagle River, Alaska. So I don't know. I answered a question that wasn't even for me. All right, back to Beth Milbert, who is speaking to me. Cinnamon, you're looking so pretty today, and thanks for brightening our day with your smile. Thank you for brightening my day with your nice comment. I really appreciate that very, very much. Sometimes I do get in there and I read a comment, and I'm like, oh, this comment is not. It happens. One is not too worried about it. One just goes for it. I'm going to mist my paint for just a second so it all kind of flows out nicely. I'm still using the same brush, which is definitely enjoyable. And I'll go ahead and get some of my colors that I'll mix out, which we know my yellow and brown makes the base for the cream.
Yep.
And we like that. And we'll go ahead and get a little loaded on here. And begin the flow out. The flow. Maybe a little darker, just to make sure that we've got a nice blend from this top layer of hair to what we see down here. And then I can always easily come in. I'm going to highlight down here. Curl around. Trying to get that those little moments. Sometimes a little heavier in the white. I can even go on the edge of my brush to piece out very specific things.
Yeah.
There we go. See how we got into that chin there? Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So we're showing those little hairs. And then where I need to have more white, I can just come in and blow those out. So much fur.
Lots of little furs.
Lots of little
Well, it's
furs.
hair. It's a hairy dog, not a furry dog.
This is a hairy dog, not a furry dog. True that. Again, into that base color, which I can easily get into. I need a little water in there. I can get it. That's okay. A little bit of white. Very light pressure here. And then I curl in. Notice that curl in? That's important. That makes a big difference on how that's going to look.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do the same on this side. A little water on the brush and work that paint through. And the reason I do that is so that the bristles and things can kind of pull apart as they need to. I'll load up here. That's how we're getting that wonderful little definition on the muzzle. And then on the outer edge of the muzzle, I will add a highlight, which helps delineate it.
Hmm.
The rest of the puppy. You can come in and these little weird moments there as well. That's okay. A little heavier into the light. Look at that. Fluffy, cute, looking up. It's just too much. Just perfect, right?
Wow.
Again, if you've got to get your brush wet, because this is about getting small little details through here. A little more into the white. Again, pulling that part of the muzzle forward. Like that out.
Wow.
Fluffy dog.
That is.
Painting. It's just too
So
much,
cute.
right?
Just there.
Too much. It's just what?
The dog.
And you just have to loves and loves and loves.
Natalie
rinsing
says
out.
it's cuteness overload.
And we'll call this a step, and then we'll just do like a few little final hairs, just to brighten and lighten. Oh, though it's almost pretty perfect. Maybe flower. Let's take a picture, and then we'll see what we want to do next.
All right.
Oh my gosh, isn't it just fun? This is exactly how I feel about my own puppy. Twix is just believes that she's the fastest being in the universe, and when she runs, like her feet barely are ever like in the grass. It's like all out, all in, all out, all in, and then there's these just great moments of just being dog.
She has the rabbit run where both rear legs spring at the same time, but the front
Terrific.
legs gallop. So they go 1, 2, 3, kick with both feet. And it's just, then everything's up off the ground while she's in midair for a second.
I think I am going to keep taking my comb brush and just add just a few more little bits of drama. And this is just almost in the white. You know, just loading up with just a little bit of the white. Just a few places just to make sure that we are. Doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. And you just got to really kind of look at it. And again, I know that I've got a lot of grass and things to be coming forward. And to that end, I really got to get back into my greens. But this time, everything will have a bit more of a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take my yellow and my phthalo green together. A little burnt sienna into it to tone it, but not as much as before. A little water. I'm going to put some brighter, more focal green and life in the front up here. I need to, you know, put more focused flowers as well, but this is a good place to start in the buildup of, you know, what I've got to get going. I like to have some lines that could be stems. Take some of it kind of off the page, in and out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that we're saying that the world exists in this world beyond what we see. Sometimes darker green, sometimes lighter green. And we have bits that come through here that definitely blend the puppy into the world that it's in.
Wow, that's so nice.
Just creating a little dimensionality. I can even come in with a darker green where I need to deepen that space. And this is why I thought like a little bit of detailing in the fur, even though we know we're putting so many flowers and things around, was meaningful. And as we're going through, I can go a lot more into my yellow and green. I can even get some of this white. And highlight some of the leaves and things.
Mm-hmm.
Highlight some of the stems. Even where the puppy is.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it just builds density. I love this painting, you guys. I just love it. Do you love it?
Yes,
You
I
love
do.
The
I think
painting.
this.
Tell me
I
in
think
the
it's
comments.
so cute.
If this is your puppy, I cannot wait to see y'all's version of this. If you're waiting on the mini books, they take about anywhere from 5 days to 10 days to come out. Except around the retreat, at which they take a little longer because we're all at the retreat. Everything is current up to the 30th. So if you've been waiting on any of them. I like to just give lots and lots of, personality to the green here.
Mm-hmm.
You make different kind of foliage marks, and then it really helps. I like that. I'm happy with that. That feels good to me.
Super
Let's
nice.
dry that, get fresh water, and finish with some of the flowers. Do we love that?
Yeah. You want to dry it real quick? You dry it, then I'll take a step photo.
It's not gonna let me.
Dry it.
All right, sorry guys. Blocked that one weird commenter. All right, let me. I'm the one with the button to block, and I just used it.
I will go check out what you're blocking.
Oh no, it's all gone now.
Okay then.
It was weird creepiness.
Right.
I think it was the one that I accidentally misread and was like, "What is that?" And then went and read all of it, and I was like, "Ah, no way." All right, I'm gonna dry it.
Okay. So, there we go. We're gonna be on a step soon, and we'll go on the next step, and she's almost done, I think. This is really, really close. I thought she might have just signed it, but flowers in the foreground, I think, is something that will take it just perfect. Yeah. Yeah, with Gabby, I think just a couple more flowers right there next to him. Yeah, Gabby was.
Have you stepped me?
I have not stepped you. I'm gonna step you while I'm away.
Step me. Step me. Step me. Step me. All right, yeah. Not that y'all don't deserve to be called beautiful and beloved and have somebody be nice to you on Facebook, but so does. It's just what is the end goal, right? Let's catch up to somebody who is currently there. Trish, thank you for teaching us. I found you a year ago and I love learning new techniques. You and your hubby make this fun, says Trish Maxwell. Thank you for your lovely comment. I really appreciate that. I could use some fresh water too.
Oh, okay, I get that.
Yes. So these are a little more in detail. I just need. Wait, I got one. I prepared. Look at me. I prepared. So these are just a little more in detail than the ones in the distance. And really we do that so that they feel a little more focused, but they're still pretty loose because we want it to be about him or them. I'm going to start maybe with my round brush. That'll help me get some good shape going. And I'm going to definitely get into my pink. Stronger into the pink now. And we're going to just speak to the shape of flowers. Not necessarily, like that's the shape of a flower, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just that first layer. So not dissimilar from what we have in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's important to tuck that which, might be a flower tucked into the grass. I think that helps it feel more realistic. And it's okay to exaggerate size a little bit like we did with the poppies. You know, you could do it a lot or a little bit, whatever's right for you. Now again, I just look at the overall contour shape of the flower. Contour means just the shape of its outer edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure that they've got bright saturated colors and crisp details, whereas these are sort of fuzzy and out of focus. These are a little, you know, more in focus. Okay, by putting these, I can also plant more flowers than is here. My field can have as many flowers as I want.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a little bit half folded, so I want to kind of think about that. And then this little petal here is sort of curved up and tipped up a bit. And then there's another one right there. Thinking about these. And then right here we have an open sort of facing flower, so I want to capture that. I love these when they're open. And once you get in those basic shapes, it's pretty easy to paint in what you're seeing. But you got to capture the first layer of shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back and decide that you will define that shape maybe a little more. I like to place a little think around to make it just seem like, oh, these things are just everywhere. So we're going to call that initial step right there, because from here we get to finish out the flowers. We just want to take a minute and look at this and go, do we like arrangement? Do we think, oh no, I'm going to end on 13 steps. It's terrible. Okay, it is what it is.
She had to dry it. I didn't know she was going to dry it first. But that'll be okay. Just, oh, see, now she's going and drying longer than I thought she would. See, earlier she was just like, just one so fast. And then, but what can I say? Never what you think it is.
I'll let you do the step. And I'm going to read a couple things. So Karen said that she's really glad that I'm demoing this brush because she's been having trouble getting it to work with the right moisture. That is really kind of it with all brushes, isn't it? I need to do another brush video, like my recommended brushes and then also my like tips on how to have the best experience. Joyce says, this painting looks like my childhood dog, Poochie, and I have tears in my eyes. And that's, but the special happy kind of tears, like touching to that place of love. And I think that that's wonderful. And I hope that you can paint this and remember all those special times together. Mary Myers, I will try this one. I think I have the paint. Use the paints you have. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
It's art. Even if you don't like the painting, it's art. Right? Nothing has happened. Nothing bad. It's all okay. So on this now, we get to do some kind of like detail painting, which is a part that I very much love. And I'm going to begin by coming into my white. And maybe even with just a little, too much yellow. That was too much yellow. A little yellow. And what you see me doing there is controlling my moisture. If I have too much water in the brush, it's not going to give me a nice opaque layer. And I do want a nice opaque layer. So I like to make sure that we've got something good here. On the base that. A little more white in here. So for these interior petals, then I do kind of think about their layering and placement. Just kind of adding a little white in the center is what I'm going to go through and do first. To do that, talk about that a bit. I can always get a little more yellow going. You know, you're starting to just kind of give them some detailing, right?
Yeah.
And I get just a smidge, maybe a little of my ultramarine blue into that. And some white. Let's come here and from the edge of the petals, kind of maybe talk about the shape of that. Come to the edge of this petal. I am doing my brush strokes in the direction of the growth of the flower,
Mm-hmm.
and that can help it. These aren't completely detailed, but we do want enough details on them for them to feel like, no, they're more in focus than what's far away.
Right.
I'm just adding another layer, going around making sure we've got good coverage. I'm going to have that working well. Get some of my white here.
Oh, those look so nice.
Maybe a little of this white. Just coming through. Flowers just sometimes need a little of our attention. And I may actually manage to get it to 14 because I'm going to do some detailing on the flowers to pull them out.
May just sneak it in.
Yeah, I think I will. But I am creating just, you can see little dimensionalities and densities to the flower. A little more pink where I want it. All right, let's do this. Then we'll come back and we'll do the final pop detailing, which will make these focal and also get us off step 13. Not that I worry about that at all. Knock on wood. Being on to 14. Woo! It'll be a fast final step. These will be like the centers of the flowers and the little lining on the edges, which give them a lot of nice dimension and personality that I like very much. And it will be with my round and my number 1 monogram liner, which is always a good thing in my mind. So first, I'm going to take my number 4 round, and I'm going to go ahead and just get a little of my yellow. It's okay if it has a little green in it. I don't mind. And where my flower is forward and open, I'll go ahead and put a little yellow center in. Can have a little green in it. It's all right if it does. I just want to say that then is the center of the flower, isn't it? And then the base is where it would show like that. We have those there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of my fluid white paint that I have left over. And come in and detail the edge of this. See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Creating a little bit of a detailing to that, which also makes it feel a little like the flower it is. I mean, we did such a beautiful job on our fluffy dog. We definitely want to have flowers worthy of this joy clearly being exuded. Sometimes little details like this, they make a big difference. The time you can give to these moments can really help your overall project. Also, then you don't spend a lot of time on something that maybe isn't as important to your project.
Mm.
See how we would turn that leaf there with just those 2 lines? Right? One of the things I think really changes as you become more experienced in your painting is you don't put effort into the places that are not going to matter to the final result. Maybe this is true of life too, right? When you get some wisdom, when you get going, you stop putting effort into the things that just aren't going to get you anywhere. And you start putting deep effort into those things which make the biggest impact and difference. You know? Not lovely how those little lines just make those little...
Really is. Let's see if I can zoom in on some of those flowers for people. Oh.
Terry says, thank you, Sherpa, for being amazing. I don't know what I did, but you're very welcome. And Bella says, love it. Thank you, Sherpa and John, for a great lesson.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We love that you guys came and joined us.
I'm so grateful that you guys, look, I get you have tons of choices about who your art teacher is these days so that you guys appreciate the work that we do and the originality that we bring to it and the effort we put in for our students. That you show up and you spend your class time with me means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A little detailed there. Oh, I really like these. I might do these again. I added a little bit of a white highlight to that. And I like it so much I'm going to add it to the other one. I got one. The other flower that was open, it's okay. I'm going back to the one that you just zoomed out from.
Okay, I know. I'm still here.
And we're going to do the tour around. But what I did is where the flowers are open, I'm adding this little white dotting. I don't mean to be a backseat director. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Pulling those little petals into their little space makes a big difference. Everything about this. I could just do, I bet you, if things got rough, I could do collections of upward nosed dogs and flowers and feed us.
Probably.
Oftentimes I'm like, I could feed us with this. I think this other thing experience has taught me is like what I could paint to pay my bills.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when you're new, you know, you're trying to make it as an artist. And you have no idea, like, what should I be painting to pay my bills? Some art is wonderful and is never going to pay the rent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just isn't its nature. I'm super happy with that, guys. And I'm glad that we went one step further. I think it's time to sign.
Yeah.
I do.
It turned out so nice.
Just everything I hoped for out of this painting. Just truly everything I hoped for out of this painting. I'm going to grab a little bit of my yellow and get it into my white. I don't like to sign with colors that aren't present in the painting, or that, like, I wouldn't come in here with a cad red and I wouldn't like try to pull attention away, because it's been a lot of work doing all of this. And yes, I do want people to know who painted it. That's important. I like to make my mark, but I also like to make it in a way so that the whole painting doesn't become about my signature and stop being about the painting. Now, I'm not a super famous artist, so if I was, I might want something different out of my signature. And I may actually be wrong now that I've said that, because like I just recently had an artist where I'm like, I'm sure everybody knows who you are. And I'm like, how would they know? And they just were like, so, you know, I still think of this as our little show.
Thank you, Rose.
Our little YouTube show. Thank you, Rose.
It's super hard to be centered and have good perspective on yourself in relative
None
things.
at all.
It's like, yeah. We just love doing this. So we're just doing this because it's what we love doing. We love being here with you guys. There's nothing else that we would do but this. So.
Can you imagine anything more fun to do with a Saturday than paint this puppo?
Yeah, everything else.
Oh my gosh, he's got a boop. He's got a little boop. In case his little boop. We have a Furry that comes and grabs my dog Twix, and she like does this little air game, and my dog Twix does exactly this. She's like, she thinks it's so much fun. So I just love it. All right. Thank you very much. I will see you if you're looking for watercolor 2 days, and if you're looking for acrylic in 3 days. Great paintings coming up on both the watercolor channel and the acrylic channel. Be sure to follow the Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook pages so you can always know what's going on. And then beyond that, as you're painting this, remember to breathe in the creativity, breathe out the weak, take care of your body posture and your body, because this is the card that you get. Be good to yourself, be good to each other. And I want to see you and Anisel really soon. Bye-bye.